Is this the new king of benchtop planers? And can it kick the DW735 off the top of the mountain? I'm not sure. Let's find out. My name's Andy, this is Cedar River Woodworking, and welcome to the shop.
I live inside my own.
So this planer right here is the new planer from Find Buy Tools. They did send this over to me to take a look at, and this is going to be a review video. And I know a lot of you guys maybe aren't fond of that, so if you do want to see a build video, check out the build video for this bench right here. But for everybody that's looking to buy a new planer, or maybe looking to upgrade a planer that they have gotten in the past, this is the video for you. Now, if this planer is something that you would like to pick up, I do have a link down in the video description below. So like I had said, Find Buy Tool did send me over this, and they wanted to give an honest opinion about how I found this tool. So if you are new to planers, there are three different type of cutter heads. One is a straight blade, one is a spiral blade, and another is a helical blade. This is the top of the mountain with the helical blade in it. Now, this particular machine is 13 inches wide and has 40 cutting heads on it. One of the great things is that this has 40 individual cutters on it, and they have 4 sides to them. So if you damage one, you can go ahead and turn it 90 degrees, and then you're back into business. Now, when I started my career with building tables, I had one that had straight blades on it, and if you had a nick in there at all, you had to replace the entire blade, and it's kind of a big pain when you have to do that. So out of the box, this thing came mostly assembled. All I really had to do was put on the handle here, and then I had to also put on the dust chute. This does have some folding tables on it here, and there are some adjustable screws here if you have any snipe that occurs on your board. Now, out of the box, I had 0 snipe. Now, what snipe is actually a small divot on the end of the board, and what causes that is when the board comes in at an odd angle and the head actually digs into the board. This can also occur from when you don't have a supported end on there. So when you're running this through, make sure that you have supported lumber as you're running it through this piece. One of those things that can also cause some snipe is if the head of the planer is actually moving up and down when you put the board in there. And one of those things that you want to do is you want to make sure that you are not going too deep of a cut when you're running board through. And that's where this depth gauge comes into play here. And all it's going to do is sit on top of the board and tell you how deep of a cut you're going to take. Now, this is rated up to 1/8 of an inch for the full width. Now, I typically only take about 1/16 of an inch, and you can actually see by the increments on the side how much you are adjusting up and down on this. But to prevent any type of movement for this head, there is actually a lock up here. And what that does is it engages the 4 posts that this head slides up and down on. So you can set that brake and forget about it and just keep running boards through and not have to worry about this head moving up or down or sliding around anywhere. Now, around the back here, you can see that I have the top cover of this cutting head taken off, and I also have the dust chute taken off. Now, this dust chute comes with a 4-inch end for any type of 4-inch dust collection, and there's also an adapter for the 4-inch to a 2.5-inch. So you do have quite a bit of flexibility here on dust collection. Now, you can also run this without dust collection, but I would highly recommend with dust collection. So let's go ahead and get back to the head here. I do have it disconnected from power, and here you can see the cutter heads. Now, there is a lock over here that gets depressed when the cover is on here. And what this lock does actually holds the head in place so it doesn't rotate while you are trying to change any of these blades. They do have an included tool here that will fit into all of these cutter heads. And they are nice enough to send you extra cutter heads to go inside of here. And here is what one of those carbide inserts looks like. Now, you can see that this carbide insert has 4 cutting heads on it. So all you have to do is just, if it gets damaged, turn it 90 degrees. And all that's going to do is loosen the screw and reinstall it. All right, so you're probably tired of hearing me talk by this point in time. So how does this thing run? Let me give it a start here for you. Now, this thing is loud, but all planers are going to have some type of noise footprint. This isn't any louder than any of my really old ones or even my large 20-inch over here. Now, I do have this hooked up to some dust collection, and I do have these two boards right here. I have some oak and some walnut that we're gonna run through here. Now, I'm going to set my depth stop. Yes, this does have a depth stop. There is 0, quarter, half-inch, 3/4, and 1-inch. So if you are trying to dial in a specific height, and you have to run some different thicknesses through here, you can do that and come back to the exact same measurement as what you had before. Now, I do use some digital calipers at the end of this to make sure that I am exactly the thickness that I want. I don't need any fancy scale or gauge on the side of this. It is helpful. So I would say find by tool, if you guys can incorporate that somehow, or you find a way that we can attach one to the current setup, that would be wonderful. This does not have that, but it does have a mechanical scale here on the side. And like I said, I use some digital calipers to figure out what my final depth is, even on my industrial size planer over here. So we are going to plane these down to about 1/2 inch. All right, so here we are with two boards at exactly 0.50 inches. Now with this depth stop, there is a height control here where you can raise and lower that just a little bit if you need to, if the depth stop here is not at the correct height from the factory. Mine was off by just a little bit, so I did have to adjust it, and that's really not that big of a deal if you are checking the thickness of your boards as they come through your planer. So how does this thing perform? I would say that it performs extremely well. That is one of the benefits of having this helical head cutter, because instead of just smashing into it with a long length of blade, it actually has a little bit of a twist to the blade, so it more like slices into the wood and peels it away nice and smoothly. Now, this isn't glass by any means, but I would say that 180 grit sandpaper is probably rougher than the surface of this board right here. And if you have some highly figured wood like walnut can get, heck, even some oak can get kind of crazy patterns on it. And I know that maple is another one that has a lot of tear out. A helical head like this one has is a great option. Now, there are a few things that I would like to address about this unit. One of those things is, just looking at my bench right here, there is a lot of dust that has come out the front, kind of came out the back a little bit. And I think the stuff out the back is from when I took off that cover, I didn't quite get it snapped in correctly. I would like to see some type of system that makes that back edge kind of snap in there a little bit better. It kind of flexes a little bit for me. Now, that isn't at all any type of killer for this thing. Lots of woodworking makes lots of dust. So if you are kind of crazy about that, you just might have a little bit of extra cleanup. Then there are two other gripes that I have about this. When I unboxed this and I put the handle on, there was actually still a plug left inside of the handle. So it's supposed to have a pass-through hole, and I think when they casted it, they didn't quite get that plug knocked all the way out of there. Now, all I had to do was use a screwdriver and kind of just tap it a little bit, and that came out. Now, the final gripe that I have with this is that on the bottom of this, there's a chain that connects the two posts together here to help raise and lower the head on this. Now, that chain is a bit loose, so I would love to see some type of tensioner system on here. So now I would really like to get into that bold claim. Can this thing kick the Dewalt off the top of the mountain? And for its price point and the features that it has, I would say yes, it is a great contender to the Dewalt. Now, the Dewalt is a much heavier unit. It does have a couple more capabilities, but from the factory, it comes with straight blades on it. Now, the straight blades, they're good until they're damaged or until they start to get a little bit dull and they smash into it and they're extremely loud, and it takes a lot longer to sand your pieces if you don't have a helical head on here. Now, the Dewalt you can get with a helical head for about $1,600. Now, you're talking about almost $1,000 more than this unit right here. Now, the last table that I made about $1,700 profit on it, and I only spent about $500 in wood. So I could make two tables for the amount that I would save by buying this unit over buying the Dewalt with the helical head. I would say that's a huge plus. Now, that kind of money, you can buy some really, really fancy tools if you wanted to, and keep reinvesting into your business. Now, I'm not saying that this is the end all be all of all of them. Now, there's going to be more improvements, and I hope that I see a lot of those improvements with Find by Tool. From what I've seen, they are making some really good strides in what they've got going on. They do even have helical heads that you can put in any of your other planers or jointers even. Now, I have seen a lot of saw blades come from them and even router bits. So I would definitely keep an eye out for Find by Tool to make some more equipment. I will be having some more projects with this unit right here because the intent of the channel is to grow our business and not just stay stagnant with doing only DIY. So if you did enjoy this planer, I do have a link down in the video description where you can find this unit right here. I will also have linked in the video description some other products that may be a good use and you should check out. Now, I do have some more plans to make more build videos with this planer instead of my 20-inch Grizzly planer, because this feels a lot more DIY than buying something like that one. What do you think that we should do for this? Should we build some type of flip cart? Should we build a mobile cart for it? Let me know down in the video description below. So again, I would like to thank Find by Tools for sending over this planer so that we could review it and so that we can have some future projects with this planer right here. Anyways, that is all for me. My name's Andy. This is Cedar River Woodworking, and we'll see you in the next video.